Third time is a charm. I filmed this video 2 times already, but I didn't like how I was doing them, so let's just pull up the facts, shall we? I have read 65 books this year, so let's talk about them. Get comfortable because this is gonna be a wild ride. The very first book that I read this year was The Next Person You Meet in Heaven by Mitch Albom. I read The 5 People You Meet in Heaven, his first book. Highly recommend this if you just want like a quick and easy read that will make you realize to be appreciative of life, or just like, I don't know how to describe how this book made me feel, but it was just like, wow. This book is basically about one of the characters in this book, the little girl that appears in this book, and it's about her story. So yeah, I won't spoil too much. Disclaimer, I can't remember if I read this year or last year, but I'm gonna include it in this year because I just have to talk about the series. This is my baby, the ACOTAR series. This series got me into fantasy reading. I was always into like fantasy action, but this is like moving from like YA to like adult fantasy. I would say this is adult fantasy. There is some spicy scenes in here, mostly in this book. I love this series. The first book is like a Beauty and the Beast twist, and then the rest of the book kind of is a lot of world building all throughout this. This one is about one of the sisters. This is a novella, the blue one, and then Sarah J Maas is coming out with a 6th book, I think. So maybe that will be about the other sister, but you should read this. You might think it's a long series, but it's not that long. I finished this whole series in 1 week. The next book that I read, that's how I feel about this book. No, I'm just kidding. This book was okay. It starts with us and it ends with us. It ends with us. I have it on Kindle. I got the second book because I had to find out what happens with Lily and Atlas. Spoiler alert, they don't get together at the end of the last book. They're kind of like on a break period. I think I just don't like it now because I've read so much better romance. This is kind of like The Baby. The School for Good and Evil. This is a kind of YA series. I haven't read the other series. I've only read the first book. And that is because the series came out on Netflix, and so I watched that. And I remember reading this in middle school, so I wanted to like reread it to kind of remember things and see if they stuck to it in the film. And they basically did, so props on Netflix for doing that. But it's a pretty good read. There are 6 other books in this series, so I don't know if I'm gonna read them, but we'll see because I did buy them. But you know, we love buying books. The next book, it's The Silent Patient. This book was crazy. I think it was the first like mystery thriller that I've read this year, and I was like blown away. Like the plot twist at the end was mind-blowing. I was like, I really recommend that book if you're looking for like a quick and easy like thriller, mystery and stuff. But like I couldn't even guess the plot twist at the end, and it was so well written. So The Book Thief, I wanted to read that because I think I was in like I need to read like classic books or like more informative or maybe like more popular historical works, so I can be like smart. This book literally was so sad. It was really interesting though because it's about the Holocaust and it's very like surreal, and so it follows like the story of this girl and her journey through the Holocaust, and it was just really well written. I didn't finish this book really fast. It took me a while because it was just, each chapter was kind of so heavy. So I was trying to like take my time and soak in the information, but it was a really good book. Okay, so the next book that I checked out was The 7 Husbands of Evelyn Hugo by Taylor Jenkins Reid, and my librarian from my high school recommended this. It was so like, it was a piece of art. I feel like that book is gonna become a classic. Well, it should. It's about this like movie star, and it kind of takes her through her life. There is some romance, drama, everything. I think it's gonna be a TV show or a movie. It should be. I really enjoyed reading it. That was also like new to me, like the realistic fiction kind of stuff, because I usually read like action YA stuff. So I really liked The Seven Husbands, so it was a good read. Speaking of YA series, the next books that I've read was The Renegades by Marissa Meyer. I love Marissa Meyer. I read The Lunar Chronicles. You should also read that series. It's kind of like a twist on fairy tales, and it's really good. So this whole like story was great. It's action filled. There's some teenage romance and like hidden identities, and it was just a really good book. Okay, then the next series I read was The Inheritance Games. Let me just tell you, the Hawthorne brothers. Xander, my favorite one was Xander. He's a little brother, and he was so cute. It's kind of like mystery YA, and there's a little bit of romance, which we always like. I always love a good book with like romance as a side plot. I was obsessed with it, so I made a timeline. I'll put it here if I can find it, but I did make a timeline of like everyone, because it does, for me it got confusing. So the fourth book, The Hawthorne Brothers, is, I think that's the fourth book to the series, or maybe it's like a standalone, but I plan on reading that. It's on my TBR. Bear with me, guys, but I just have one word. Aaron Warner. That's 2 words, but my first book boyfriend that we love. This series was pretty good. To be honest, I did not like the last 3 books, because technically I count this as a trilogy, which is Shatter Me, Unravel Me, and Ignite Me. There are 3 novellas that I do want to read that are in different POVs, but we love all the men in here except Adam. No, we don't like Adam. He's a freaking weirdo. I guess he does get better, but like, no. Really recommend the first 3. This is like dystopian. There's a lot of action and like backstory. These 3, the last 3 are kind of like the backstories, I feel like. Yeah, really recommend. Shatter Me. Okay, the next book that I read was She's Gone, and this is a kind of YA thriller, I believe. So this book is kind of written backwards, so it kind of like counts down to the actual event, which I thought was really cool. And every chapter kind of had some kind of thing that like was a puzzle piece in like the ending. So I thought this book was pretty cool. I saw it at Barnes & Noble's and I was like, I need a good mystery thriller, because I was in my, I believe, Silent Patient era and I needed a mystery. The next book is also a thriller, but All the Missing Girls. It's a murder mystery, and this was crazy as well. I kind of guessed the ending. It's not like a mystery, but it was a pretty good book. So next is Family of Liars. I believe this came out this year. Oh no, it came out last year, but it was kind of just sitting on our shelves. I did read We Were Liars, which was a 10 out of 10. Really good mystery YA book. The plot twist at the end was crazy. This is the prequel, but I didn't like it as much. I think it was like a 2-star. It was kind of like a waste of time, but yeah. Another book that I just kind of picked up because it looked interesting was The Daughter of a Pirate King. This is a duology. The second book is The Daughter of a Silent Queen, and I really want to read that. So I'll probably go check to see if they have it at Barnes & Noble's, but this is a really good YA action series. It's about like pirates, and it's kind of like Pirates of the Caribbean. There's also romance in this book, which I do appreciate. It's like enemies to lovers, but it's very slight. It's not the whole book. The next series that I read, this series took a while for me, but it's the Six of Crows. Kaz and Inej and Matthias and Nina and Jasper and Willen. Just every character in this book. I love them, and I'm really mad at Netflix for canceling the Shadow and Bone series because I really wanted to see like the heist at the end and what happens, because I did read Crooked Kingdom. That book took me forever. I started it in the summer and I didn't finish it till like October. I really just didn't want to know what happened in the end, because what happened in the end of that book destroyed me. Let's just say it was not the ending that I wanted, but I guess that has to happen. And then I read this poetry book. It's actually by my friend Isabella, and she does like slam poetry, and she kind of like made this book. I don't think you can buy it, so I'm special. This book was so well written. All the poems were like so deep and like, you know, it like came from the heart and stuff, and each poem just like has their own story, and it's really cool. So yeah. The next book I read was Carrie Soto is Back. Throughout the whole book, the things I were thinking were, this needs to become a TV show or movie. Someone needs to go turn this book into a movie right now. Like, Taylor Jenkins Reid has done it again. This book was a 10 out of 10. Like, the whole plot line, this comeback story of Carrie, a little bit of romance with another tennis player. I really liked the ending and how Taylor wrote this ending, because I thought it like fit really well. Some might say it's not like a happy ending, but I feel like it's a good like pass the torch moment. Okay, the next book that I read, Better Than the Movies. My favorite part was all the quotes from a romance movie at the beginning of each chapter, and then my also favorite line that I will never forget is when Wes goes, "She isn't you." Someone say that to me and I will...
You will what? You will straight up be speechless, because if someone said that to you in real life, you would start laughing because it's so cringe.
I won't know. I'll be speechless. Like, I'll be like... It's a kind of a friends to lovers book, and that is not my favorite trope, but the way that Lynn Painter wrote this was crazy. I'm so excited for Wes's POV. That's coming out next year, I believe. This series is so controversial for me. It is. I was really hesitant. The summer I turned pretty. You see, there's a whole story on why I decided to read this, because I was really against reading this book, or this whole series in fact. So basically, The Summer I Turned Pretty came out last year, I believe, and I tried watching it with my sister, and I was just commenting and cringing the whole way, so I just couldn't watch it. And then season 2 was coming out this summer, and my friend is obsessed with Summer I Turned Pretty, so she's like, we have to watch this together, because they were doing the thing where the episode comes out like every Friday. And so I was like, no. We ended up watching the episodes, and I kind of got like halfway through season 2, and I was just like, this is getting too cringy and I need to know what happens because there's too much drama. So I knew Remy had this, so I binge read all of these. So now I know what happens at the end, and I can tell you that I am not a Jeremiah girly. No, I am not Team Jeremiah at all. Because, spoiler alert, he cheats on Belly basically. They weren't even on a break. Don't tell me that. And I don't commend cheating, so I guess that makes me a Conrad girl, but I just don't like Jeremiah because he cheated in the books, so. Also, Belly is just problematic overall, and she was really annoying me. And also, the way that they did her makeup in season 2, I think, was... I don't even know. I guess they tried to make her look younger by not putting like any mascara or something, but she had like foundation on, so it just looked weird. I guess I recommend this book, but we have a love-hate relationship, so. The next book I read was Heartless. Okay, so this came out a long time ago, but I guess I just didn't know that because I don't know why I didn't know that, but This is also by Marissa Meyer. You should go read it. It is a twist on Alice in Wonderland. The ending is crazy, and I really like how this ended, because it's like a prequel to how the Queen of Hearts came to be, and I really enjoyed reading this book. It was a good YA book. I don't have the other book. I'll put it right here. I do have this one. I took the Just jacket off because I didn't want to ruin it. It's at school. But if you know what this is, then you know what it has done to me. I was literally, this book basically put me in a reading slump. I think that's why I didn't like the book that I read afterward. I am torn. I need the third book right now to see what happens to my baby Xaden. Fourth Wing was so good. That's the first book in the Imperium series. When I read Fourth Wing, I thought it was only a duology, with this book being the last book, but it's not. It's 5 books. But Fourth Wing was so good. It ended on a big cliffhanger, so I just made the impulsive decision to buy this, so now I basically have to get the rest of the books in hardcover. But literally, it's another good adult fantasy series. It's like mid spiciness. There are only like a couple of scenes. The banter, the enemies to lovers, the dragons, everything. Like, I love the Imperium series so far. I'm really scared though, because of what happened at the end of this. So hopefully all goes well, but all I can say is Shadow Daddies win again. Rice and Satan. The next book I'm going to be talking about is The Naturals. If you like Criminal Minds, and I love Criminal Minds before they took it off Netflix, you need to read this series. I have not read the other 3 books in this series, but this book, I can tell, is exactly like Criminal Minds. It's a good YA series. God. I love the 7-Year Slip. I read this in the fall because I needed like a good fall book, and a lot of people were recommending this, and when I tell you, it is a 5-star book. It's a 5-star book, maybe even more. Like, the romance in this was great. Every line was just a masterpiece, and this is kind of like a time travel book, which I'm not usually a fan of. So cute. So I do recommend. It's a pretty quick read. You can read this anytime, but it just kind of gives fall vibes, you know. Next is by the same author, Ashley Poston. This is The Dead Romantics. Also sort of like a fall book. This was also kind of 5-star by me. It's okay, I'm trying to think. I read a ghost series when I was younger. I think it was called The Mediator. I'll put it right here. But this kind of reminded me of The Mediator and stuff, but this was also a really cute book and easy read. Another 5-star book, The Spanish Love Deception. Literally, Aaron and Lena have my heart. This book made my expectations of men skyrocket. If I ever date my boyfriend, better be up to the standard. All of my books, like, let me just name all of the book boys. Like, Xaden, Rise, Aaron Warner, Lucas. This is the next book, Lucas. It's not really a series. They're interconnected. Like, this book is about Lena's friend, and then this book is about Lena. Spanish Love Deception is like enemies to lovers. This one's like roommates. We're almost done, guys. Bear with me. This next book was given to me as a joke, but it was The Ice Plant Barbarians. I mean, if you want alien smut and spiciness, go read it. Go read the 17-book series. I don't know, there are 11 girls, so 11-book series if you want, but this was not my cup of tea, and No. The next book that I read, it's at school, but it was a mystery thriller. It's called Daisy Darker by Alice Finney, I believe. I kind of guessed the plot twist at the end. It's kind of like an adult version of Or We Are Liars. It's like a family that all gets together and the grandma's the mastermind. This series, I feel like I've just gone through thick and thin with them. I don't have one of the books with me because it's at school, but the Twisted series. I started this, I believe, beginning of the school year, May or something, and I finished it. It was really good. It is more of like an adult realistic fiction. It's very spicy towards the end. I would say the spiciest is Twisted Hate, but Twisted Hate is also the most realistic in terms of relationship wise, I feel like, and the things that Josh does. Each one was like pretty good. Twisted Lies was the book that I read after I finished Iron Flame, so that's probably why I didn't think it was as good as Twisted Hate. Twisted Hate is my favorite. I loved the like ending epilogue. It wasn't even epilogue, it was just the ending, like this much. Everyone gets their little happy ending. Spoiler alert, they have kids. Some of them do, and it's just so cute. Maybe next year I'll read Anna Huang's other series. I think it's like King of like Greed. Okay, so I don't have any of these books with me, but The Love Hypothesis, Love Theoretically, Love on the Brain. These are all by Ali Hazelwood. They're all kind of like STEM romances in a STEM work field. I love these three books. They're interconnected in a way, but it's not like a series. The first one that I read was Love Hypothesis, and that was like a really popular TikTok book, so I was like, okay, why not? It's kind of like fake dating, and he was always in love with her and obsessed with her, and I feel like most of the men in Ali Hazelwood's books are. The other book that I read from her, which isn't part of the series, but that's Checkin' Me, which is a YA book of hers that she just came out with. But I binge read all of those throughout finals. So basically for the 3 finals, I read one book each day, which is really crazy. But they were just so good and I ate that up. Literally all the book boys, Adam, Jack, and Nolan, every man that Ali Hazelwood writes is obsessed with the girl. All of those books made my expectations of men also skyrocket. Next is The Good Girl's Guide to Murder. Here are all the books. I did finish that series as well. It was a really good YA mystery series. There's a little bit of romance. I really liked like the images of like the case files and all that stuff in there. I thought that was really cool. The ending, I mean, I get the ending, but it just made the whole series like hurt even more. But I highly recommend if you need like a good mystery murder series YA. These 2 books, Book Lovers and The People We Meet on Vacation. I honestly wasn't a fan of either of these. Like, I don't want to say that I don't like Emily Henry, because I do want to read Happy Place by her, because I know that has been like hyped up. For The People We Meet on Vacation, I wasn't a fan of the time travel thing that was going on, because it was kind of like each chapter was like going back in time and then it would go back to the present. It was kind of like hard for me to follow. Also, like Book Lovers, I wasn't feeling like the romance in there. So next is the Mindfuck series. This is a 5-book series, but I got this book because it has all of them. Also, the cover is more subtle. This is kind of like a spicy Criminal Minds. It's not that spicy. There are some scenes, but like the mystery was really good. It's in the POV of a serial killer. It's also dual POV, which I also enjoy. Lana's whole plan and everything is like so cool, and it just makes you feel like powerful reading it, even though it's like a little wrong. But it was a good series, so highly recommend. Oh, and then when I found out what the apple meant on the cover, I was like, phew. Okay, we have 3 more books. The Bodyguard. And don't even get me started. I finished this so fast. This got me out of like my Iron Flame reading slump. I was just giggling. Yeah. Kicking and giggling my feet. I wasn't giggling my feet. I was kicking my feet and giggling the whole time. My sister got to meet Catherine Center and she got the book signed, which is so cool. I want to get more of my book signed, so I might try to like go online to find like author signings and stuff going on next year. But enemies to lovers kind of thing going on and fake dating. Okay. This was also like TikTok made me buy it from Look Up With Love. I was seeing this a lot on TikTok. It was okay. I feel like it was kind of long. It's kind of like childhood enemies to lovers and forced proximity. I don't think it's like a necessary you have to read right now. So Love Redesigned. First of all, I got this cover because look at it. It's beautiful. What in the world? Also, purple is my favorite color. This is the Lakefront Billionaires and it's Lauren Asher's series that she started. The second book of this is still in the work. I know she does like the fine print, which is another like billionaire series. I think it's Dreamland Billionaires. It's enemies to lovers, but he was like always in love with her. So the ending was so cute and I can't wait for the second book because I think it's about the cousin and his nanny. So I don't know if I'll like that trope, but we shall see. It involves a single dad and kids, so there were like 1 or 2 scenes I feel like that were spicy, but other than that, it was really good. Those are all the books. That was a lot of talking. First, we can go over my top 5 reads. I don't even know if this counts because I can't remember if I read it this year at the beginning of the year or last year, but it's Echo Math. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series and it's just beautiful. Coming in second, I don't have it with me, but it's Fourth Wing, obviously. That book literally has me on a chokehold. Just everything about Fourth Wing, the banter, the enemies to lovers, the action, the plot twist. I'm kind of scared because there are little messages at the top of each chapter about like correspondence and stuff, if you know what I mean. I'm a little scared because some of those are a little bit scary and like foreshadowy, so we shall see. But yeah, that's second. The third book is Carrie Soto Is Back, and like I said before, this needs to be turned into a movie right now. Like, the fourth book, I don't have it with me as well, but The Silent Patient, the plot twist is like 20 out of 10. I was just so shocked at the plot twist, and that whole book was like mind-blowing. The fifth book is of course Better Than Movies. This is just, I think this is what got me into a romance trend towards the end of the year, because I did read this in the summer and then I kind of just read romance with a little bit of thriller and fantasy thrown. Again, that line, she isn't you, that literally has me on a chokehold, but I can't with Wes. My reading goals for next year are to read 50 books. Try to read slower because sometimes I read fast and I like miss some details, so I want to take my time with books and like soak it in, you know. And then I want to expand genres, so like read more like dark academia, fantasy, action, because I did start reading a lot of romance. And then the last thing is to finish the books that I bought, because I have a whole TBR, like that whole shelf up there. It's basically this shelf but filled. It's 2 shelves of unread books, and those are kind of books that I bought but I like didn't really read because I just love buying books. But I do want to finish the books that I bought. I will be buying more books obviously, but I would like to finish some of the books that I bought in previous years. So that concludes the 2023 wrapped. That was a lot of talking, but maybe if you put this in 2x speed. I hope you enjoyed this video. I think this is gonna be the last video of 2023. I hope y'all have a great rest of your year and happy holidays, and I will see y'all next year. Bye!